Can you all hear me? Okay. Item A, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1921 Central Avenue from M1 manufacturing zone to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone. Item B, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1310 East 36th Street from M1 manufacturing zone to R2 residential zone. Item C, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone two unaddressed properties in the 3600 block of Alton Park Boulevard and the 300 block of West 37th Street from M1 manufacturing zone to R3 residential zone. Item D, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1620 Riverfront Parkway from M1 manufacturing zone to C3 central business zone subject to certain conditions.
All right, Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are in your district, and pending no objection, move to approve on final reading.
Second. All right, thank you so much, Councilman Ledford and Councilman Smith. These have been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item A on the Parks and Outdoor on the first reading.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 26, Sections 26, 23, 26, 28, and 26, 30, establishing fees for special park event reservations, softball field rentals, and Champions Club for Chattanooga parks, community centers, and recreational facilities.
Okay, Councilman Hester, followed by Madam Vice Chair Hill.
We had earlier, we need to, according to the administration, we want to defer this for 2 weeks.
All right. Second. Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. If there's no objection from council, we will take items A and B as a group. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Item A, a resolution confirming the reappointment of Alan Richardson for District 6 to the Board of Zoning Appeals with a term beginning on January 13, 2024 and ending on January 12, 2027. Item B, a resolution confirming the reappointment of Scott McCopen for District 4 to the Board of Zoning Appeals with a term beginning on February 10, 2024 and ending on February 9, 2027.
All right, Councilwoman Burrs, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Move approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item C.
A resolution authorizing the mayor, his designee, to award up to $3 million in home investment partnerships program home funds to One Westside Phase 1B LP to assist in the development of a 166-unit affordable housing project containing 16 home restricted units, subject to the applicant satisfying the home requirements for committing funds to a specific project as defined at 24 CFR 92.2 and the subsidy layering and underwriting requirements at 24 CFR 92.250B before an agreement is executed.
Okay, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was for a previous item. I'm good now. You can take my light out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, Madam Vice Chair.
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item D under Human Resources.
A resolution authorizing revisions to the Employee Information Guide, EGG, Policy 19.6, disciplinary hearings with related table of contents updates to be effective upon approval.
Okay, council, you've heard the reading. Madam Vice Chair.
At the agenda session, we had a conversation about this item. The administration has asked that we defer this until 3/26, so I move to defer.
All right, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, planning item E.
A resolution authorizing the city of Chattanooga to apply for and, if awarded, accept the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Railroad Administration Corridor Identification and Development Corridor ID Program Award to be used for eligible activities to include the development of a scope, schedule, and cost estimate for preparing a service development plan for this corridor for an amount not to exceed $500,000.
All right, you've heard the reading.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, council, if there's no objection, we'll take Public Works items F, G, and H as a group. All right, Madam Clerk.
Item F, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to award contract number Y17005-204 East Lake Community Center improvements and North River Civic Center repairs to John Bryan Construction LLC of Chattanooga, Tennessee, in the amount of $75,892 with a contingency in the amount of $7,500 for a total amount of $83,392. Item G, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to approve change order number 2 with the Tennessee Department of Transportation, TDOT, for contract number T15032-101 South Chickamauga Greenway, Youngstown, for extended construction engineering and inspection, CEI, by Arcadis US Inc. for an increase of $192,170.22 for a revised total contract amount of $434,521.05. Item H, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to award contract number F23005-201 Fire Training Tower Construction to J. Reed Constructors, Inc. of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the amount of $1,375,000 with a contingency amount in the amount of $25,000 for a total amount of $1.4 million.
All right, council, you've heard the reading. All right, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Mayor's office, item I.
A resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Rob Ellis to the Air Pollution Control Board for a term beginning on March 20, 2024, and ending on March 19, 2028.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Are there any board appointments here today? If you are, raise your hand. Well, if you are listening, thank you so much for your service. We have come to purchases. Ms. Julia.
Good evening, council. We have 4 purchases recommended for approval this evening. The first is for the Chattanooga Fire Department. This is a one-time purchase of a mobile air trailer in the amount of $149,040 for use by the Chattanooga Fire Department. Bids are received from one vendor. The invitation was re-advertised and resulted in no additional bids. The award will go to Breathing Air Systems. The second is from the Department of Parks and Outdoors. This is a new blanket agreement for ground maintenance for the Chattanooga City Parks Department. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $725,000 per year. Various locations will be awarded to the following: 1, Excellent Lawn Care; 2, City Green Services; 3, Special Touch Lawn Services; and 4, TRG Lawn Care as the best bids for the city of Chattanooga. Third is from the wastewater department. This is a purchase of 2 bypass pumps and accessories from Xylem Dewatering Solutions, Inc. in the amount of $148,789.44 for use by the wastewater department. This purchase is utilizing H-GAC by contract number CM02-21. The fourth and final purchase is from the Office of Community Health. This is an increase of $5,310 for additional radio advertisements for community outreach efforts with Brewer Media Group. The new total spend will be $53,490. This increase is grant funded.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Julia. Okay, we've come to committee reports. Councilman Henderson. All right, Councilman Smith. All right, Councilman Ledford. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a reminder, our third proposed zoning workshop will be next week at 1 o'clock in the Collins Conference Room.
All right, that works. Thank you so much, Councilman Ledford. Councilman Hester?
We did meet today, and I want everybody to check out the new changes with brush and all that. Just check out the media. It's gonna be a newspaper where, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Councilwoman Coonrod? Councilwoman Noel?
No report.
Councilwoman Burrs?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Budget and Finance did have a work session today, and it's all on record.
All right, thank you so much. Madam Vice Chair?
No report.
All right, we have now come the time of persons wishing to address the council. If you wish to address the council, please line up behind this podium here while our attorney reads the rules.
Yes, ma'am. At the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council. The following rules will apply. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized up front at the microphone provided for that purpose. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters which are not under their authority but are regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Don't engage in any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. Address the council as a whole and not make comments directed towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law, and someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having given you those rules, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Council. Josh Branham, Governmental Affairs Director for Greater Chattanooga Realtors, 712 Lancaster Drive. I believe I supplied you all with a copy of the February 2024 residential housing statistics earlier today that would have come to you sooner, but I was in sunny San Diego last week when they dropped, so I'm missing the warm weather in the last couple days. But just a couple of quick highlights for you all. For the month of February, this month we had 410 new listings, which is a almost 46% increase over February of 2023. And just the other main point that most people are interested in, the median sales price for February dropped almost 0.5% to just shy of $300,000 within the Chattanooga area. If you look on our website, gcar.net, you'll see some other housing statistics, but those factor in all 5 counties. For Tennessee, it's Sequatchie County and Hamilton County, of course, but also 3 counties in Georgia. So those statistics may look different. Well, they look very different from the ones that I supplied you all with, which are just for the city of Chattanooga. But as always, please let me know if I can help with any other information regarding housing. And thank you all for your service and for your time.
All right, thank you so much, Josh.
Hello, Council.
Hello.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Sharonda Brown. I'm a registered nurse born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Left to go run emergency departments all over the country, and now I'm back in the city to serve my community. I came back. I started a nonprofit organization called Sister RN and Friends, and I came back last year with my first project called the Sister RN Music Cipher. We went around to different recreational centers. We partnered with the Office of Community Health and the Washington Hills Recreational Center with Shay Smith. She was the first one to give me access to the kids. And from there, we had about 26 kids that we consistently were involved in. And what we did was took them all over Chattanooga and we challenged other kids to talent performances. And so we did rap battles, beat battles, dance battles, things to keep their minds and their talents and keep them engaged. The thing that stood out to me the most, though, was the essay battle. And we got the stories of those kids, right? The main things, we know what's going on in Chattanooga between all the violence and everything that's happening. That's what their essays spoke about. What we found, though, is that they had a lot of unresolved trauma, and those were the first times that they even spoke about the violence and the murders and stuff that they witnessed. And so as a registered nurse and looking at my assessment or completing my assessment, I definitely know that we need some type of therapy for the kids in the city that are experiencing what's happening in our city, right? They have post-traumatic stress, they have unresolved trauma, and we know how that manifests itself. I am here and I am a resource for you guys, and I can help you or anyone else develop a program to help us address that. Remember, I am Chattanooga. I am from Chattanooga. I've seen this from the streets of Chattanooga, and I've also been in the inside of our healthcare system. I am here to help, and I need you guys to know who I am. My personal website is www.sharondabrown.com. That'll tell you a lot about me, and later I'll give you more about the project. What we found, though, in wrapping things up, is that when we gave our gifts, poverty and our kids were just hungry. They needed money. They were selling their gifts, things like that. And so what we did was created another program to support the family as a whole. So I'm offering, starting April 4th, weekly webinars for every woman in Chattanooga that's looking for personal and professional growth. We would provide resources for them. We would clean their credit in real time. We would show them how to file disputes, things of that nature. We would show them how to navigate the healthcare system while we occupy the minds of their kids through our music cipher. Remember us,
Thank you, Ms.
especially
Brown.
when it comes to funding.
All right.
And thank you guys for
Thank you,
all you
Ms.
do.
Brown. Appreciate it.
Hey, Council, John, District 9. I wanted to share with you some interesting research coming out of Harvard University and Raj Shetty, who looked into the question of economic upward mobility. And specifically, I want to look at this through the lens of affordable housing as we're looking into this housing pilot, our regional planning agencies, form-based code, and other options that we're looking into for affordable housing. I've shared part of my story before. I am one of 9 kids. I grew up in an incredibly food insecure, housing insecure upbringing. But one of the things that brought me and my siblings out of poverty is something known as social capital, or in this case, economic connectedness. That when Raj Shetty from Harvard University, as an economist, looked at the things that brought people out of poverty, it was friendships and relationships with people of other social classes that was the most predictive of whether or not they would break out of that. Now, different places that we interact with people of other social capital are places like church and like work, places that we're meeting less and less frequently in person. It used to be something that would happen at the neighborhood and community level. But something that's been going on in Chattanooga and other cities for a very long time is economic segregation. Gentrification isn't bad that somebody found a home in a place they loved. Gentrification isn't bad that someone's home values went up. Gentrification, when it's bad, is when people are being displaced. And that displacement concentrates both wealth and poverty to different areas of the community. That one of the injustices of not being able to afford a house in a regular neighborhood is that you further exacerbate the problem by keeping people from the best economic opportunity they have of growing up, of breaking out of their strata like I had. So when we look at the pilot program, and as we figure out the problems it might have, or we look at housing solutions, I want each and every district to consider that this isn't a District 9 problem, a District 1 problem. Every district needs to not think about how this will affect police calls or how this might affect complaints from neighbors, but more think about how we can help our brothers and sisters who are experiencing poverty to bring themselves out of poverty through social connectedness and social capital. This isn't a problem that's confined to one neighborhood or to one district. It's best shared among all districts. And so I hope that you will consider, when looking at both the pilot program and other opportunities like form-based code, that you'll consider this isn't the problem of another district. It's a problem with your district, regardless of which district it is. Thank you.
I'm Bob Edwards from Ridgeside Farm at 235 Shallowford Road. I'm here to speak to you about a subject that might often get overlooked, and it sounds funny, but I'm discussing foreign policy. And the map that I'm giving you shows, that's going around, shows 5 of Chattanooga's 8 sister cities. There's Givatayim, Israel, Nizhny Tagil, Russia, as well as Wuxi, China, Gangneung, South Korea, and Tono, Japan. The newest sister city of Accra, Ghana, and the 2 cities in Germany do not show up on that map. I've also attached an article I wrote titled, "A Friendship Flotilla to Russia's Far Eastern Port of Vladivostok Can Ensure World Peace." My point is that the United States has intentionally or inadvertently kept Russia in the dark along the Pacific Rim. Russia's population is shrinking, and China is a rising dragon along their 2,600-mile border. Now, just as President Nixon once played the China card back in 1972, the United States, and maybe even Chattanooga, should play the Russia card and bring understanding, peace, and ultimately prosperity along the entire northern hemisphere. To those who question whether sister city relationships are just window dressing and a chance to squander taxpayer funds, I would remind you that our first sister city treaty or agreement was signed in 1977 with Hamm, Germany. Was it a coincidence that Germany and Europe's largest industrial corporation chose Chattanooga for their North American headquarters 35 years later? Or how about our sister city relationship signed in Wuxi by Mayor Pat Rose in 1982? Would there now be 60 boarding school students from China here bringing a cool $3 million into our local economy each year? So I ask you to consider how the city of Chattanooga might be able to conduct foreign policy. Who can say what happens if a friendly representative from Chattanooga or the state of Tennessee were to arrive at the port of Vladivostok loaded with Little Debbie, Coca-Cola, and Jack Daniels? Maybe then we might realize the dream of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, the father of sister cities, who said, "Let's not win the war only to lose the peace." So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, council.
Janice Gooden, District 8, representing Caleb. I want to talk about the proposed new housing pilot program. Love the title, Bringing Everyone to the Table. This policy could provide an opportunity for local partners, as Councilman Ledford had mentioned, to be included in supplying housing. One of the other areas, including mixed income units, is essential. There is an opportunity to add some measure of affordability that might not otherwise occur. Also, there's an opportunity to have quality housing in all areas of the city. So as we focus on affordable housing, we do want the housing to be of high quality, as indicated. One plus is that this policy will allow the interior inspection of the units to be done and the ability to revoke a pilot if the units are not up to code. So one other area, I know in the discussion last week, you talked about streamlining the process. And I think that's a part that maybe you haven't decided, but there was an indication that these projects could go directly to the HEB. So that's something I'm a little interested in knowing about the process and how that will work. I think it will be important for you to clearly define the process, but there needs to be clear communication back and forth between the boards. I think that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Janice.
Thank you.
All right, now if you wish to address the council, please line up behind this podium, because if you're not up here, I've moved to ask for an adjournment. Okay.
My name is Robert White. I'm just a citizen of Chattanooga. I want to bring before the council that I suggest that you readdress the noise ordinance, the last one that was passed, I believe, in 2023. It was designed from the time it was written to be unable to enforce. As I've spoken to the police, there's not been any type of instrument that they have that they can measure the decibel level. It's up to their opinion, their ear. And that can be easily refuted by the person that is making the noise. But it's not an ordinance that can be administered to the public, and it is something that you can't get away from. The noise permeates the residents, goes through the walls, the windows, everything, and you can't, it's not a choice of hearing it or not. It's forced upon you. And it's not just my opinion. I've spoken to the public, and they feel the same way, the people I've spoken to. And I've greatly encouraged the council to re-examine the noise ordinance and just see if it needs to be rewritten, amended. And if there's anything I can do to provide insight or discuss this further, I will do it. I'll gladly do it. There have been times when I've spoken to people today that a motorcycle went by and we had to stop talking. I couldn't hear the man. And our city is too beautiful we're getting people here because it's a nice city. And one of it is the sound, the noise, or lack of it, compared to other places. But I don't want to destroy the beauty of our city. So please reevaluate the noise ordinance and need to put into it a way like an audiometer that the police have, some instrument that's a valid, unbiased, and reliable instrument that they can measure the decibel level, something instead of just their opinion. They want to, and also one last thing is, as the police have told me, that it's a very difficult type of ordinance to apply because the city is so broken up in places where the decibel level changes at just this street. And be able to apply it to the entire city is very difficult, they tell me, because it's not a smooth application. It's just very structured, very
All right, Mr. White, thank you so much.
angulated.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. White.
Thank you.
All right. All right, council, don't see anyone else wishing to address the council. All right, meeting adjourned.